moseying. I'm moseying up.
Before I call the meeting to order tonight, I would like to have everybody stand. I'd like to have former City Commissioner Mr. Benny Roberts lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to have Commissioner Phil McCrone lead us in a prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this time, Lord. We just ask you for wisdom. We ask you for understanding, Lord. Lord, just guide us in all our decisions in the business of the city. And we just give you the praise and the glory for it all in your name. Amen.
Amen. I now call this meeting to order. First of all, we'll have our consent agenda minutes. We're going to do we had a regular commission meeting on 9/1. We had a budget workshop on 9/1 with a joint city-county workshop on 9/2. We had a Burton and Associates workshop on our water rate study on 9/8, and then special meeting on 9/10. Have everybody had a chance to look over those minutes and have a motion to approve them?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Thursby and then a second by Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. All right, Port St. Joe redevelopment update.
Good evening. How you doing, Bill? Good. Last week or so, I've been continuing to work with downtown businesses, pursuing the facade grants with people that haven't applied in 2 years, and I think you'll see a lot of applications come in October after the fiscal year starts.
Right.
That's going well. Also working on the new downtown map. It seems there's been a lot of changes in just a little over a year from the last time that map was printed. So we're getting that updated, including the lighthouse, of course, down in the park. Speaking of the park, we have a special meeting tomorrow at 8:30 in the park with the board to discuss future improvements to the keepers' quarters and other park improvements. We have budgets and funds this year for improvements to those facilities. As a matter of fact, we just got, Miss Charlotte got a phone call. Where is she in here?
She's right here.
Right there. She got a phone call from someone, maybe you could elaborate, from the lighthouse.
Ron Eckert from the Florida Lighthouse Association called yesterday, and Mr. Kennedy was in my office. They would like to have their April meeting up here. They've been up here several times before, but would like to have their executive committee meeting like on a Friday, have a reception after that, have part of it at St. George, and then do some of it over here. If you will remember, Florida Lighthouse contributed approximately $50,000+ to help with the lighthouse renovations, everything we've been going through. They feel very welcome. They love to come up here. They've met in the Centennial Building several times to have their quarterly meeting, but they would like to meet with us then and utilize the facility then for their executive committee meetings and a reception in April. Yes, sir.
Kind of short fuse, but I think we might can do something. That's all I have. If there's any questions about any of that.
You said 8:30 in the morning, Bill?
8:30 in the morning. And I just like to add, I know that there's an issue later on the agenda about the golf cart crossing. I would just like to put a pop in that any provide accessibility that downtown can get to the waterfront is good for downtown. So just as from a downtown perspective anyway.
Gibbs.
Patton Park plat approval is in the package starting at page 9. The PDRB looked at this last week and recommended it for your approval. Assuming you vote to accept the plat, Rebel Ridge will have to prepare the final plat for everybody's signatures. Once it's signed off, it will get recorded in the county. And as soon as that happens, we can start the advertisement process and get in the real estate business.
Found did PDRB make any changes at all?
No.
I did not. Motion to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ashbrook, second by Commissioner Thursby. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Have y'all come up with a price on the lots yet?
You got a minimum, what are those minimum?
I don't remember.
But we did.
The two on the front are $110,000 minimum, and I don't remember the other four.
I don't either.
We approved
But I have that,
meeting.
I have that information at the office if anybody wants to give me a call.
Ms. Ann, if you'll call Mr. Tom, he'll be glad to give you that.
Tim, you got one? You got one?
What's that?
You got a copy of all that?
I don't have it here in front of me. We do have it back at the office. We
Then
do
I
have
need
it.
it at the office, because you might be.
One thing to consider too is, yes ma'am, we had looked at the actual advertising costs on there is one thing the board has to do. Some of these are very pricey, so you may want to consider starting locally and then branching out if you don't get enough interest on there. But some of them, Ms. Pierce had some of the numbers, they were
$300 to $900. Some of them for one time.
one
ad.
time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We don't want no advertisement, do we?
Next item I've got is ordinance 518 and 519. These are on the agenda for the first reading for the new water and sewer rates.
Tom, could you elaborate on that a little bit? What about the new sewer rates? Or the Jim, one of you guys?
Yes, sir, I can kind of give you an overview.
Right.
We met with Burton and Associates last week, who actually did the rate study for the city of Port St. Joe. Your current rates are set up by ordinance to go up on October the 1st. Currently, they're set to go up 3.5% on water and 3.5% on sewer. After the rate study was done, Burton and Associates' recommendation was to reduce the amount of the increase on the water to 2.75%, and on the sewer to go up just a quarter to 3.75 based on that. So based on that, that's what your ordinances are in front of you today. October 1, 2.75% increase on water, 3.75% increase on sewer.
What's that on the average, Jim?
Mr. McCoy, is that what, $3 to $4 on a 3,000 gallon a month user? Do you remember the exact amount?
It was $1.98 increase per customer for an average 3,000
Is that what it was?
gallons, $1.98.
Few
About
dollars,
$2.
nothing substantial on a 3,000 gallon.
But in return, guys, we've decided, we've looked at this thing, we've looked at it, and we all talked about it the other night. The only way that we're gonna be able to bring these water prices down is to hook more people on, get more customers. So what we did was, instead of taking and doing a zero increase, that we did have that option, and then next year we'd have to kick it in even more. We decided to do a 30% decrease in our impact fees, which on an impact fee is gonna save you about, what, $1,600?
Substantial.
Yeah, substantial amount, so on a residential. So I feel like that we're moving in the right direction, guys. I mean, I didn't want to increase at all, but
Well, this also gives you options too.
it does.
Your current loan is you have a 15-year balloon is what you have with Regions Bank with a 7-year hard prepay. After the 7 years, this gives you some options to utilize your impact fees. These impact fees right now are being put to the side. They're being put in a segregated account. So in a couple of years, we'll have those options if we want to pay down this debt to really reduce these rates as we need to do.
Right.
And move for first reading of ordinance 518.
Motion by Commissioner Brazil, second by Commissioner Thursby. Any further discussion? Anyone in the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Ordinance number 518, an ordinance of the city of Port St. Joe, Florida, amending ordinance 472, establishing new base rates by customer classification, establishing new volume charge, establishing new annual adjustments for the base rates and volume charges, providing for repeal of all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And then we've got 519, which is the wastewater ordinance.
Have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner McCrone, second by Commissioner Thursby. Any further discussion? Anyone in the audience? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Ordinance number 519, an ordinance of the city of Port St. Florida, amending ordinance 473, establishing new base rates by customer classification, establishing new volume charge, establishing new annual adjustments to the base rates and volume charges, providing for repeal of all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right. Nick?
Next thing I've got is Resolution 2015-06, and this is the resolution that reduces the impact fees by 30%. If you were raising impact fees, this would have to be adopted as an ordinance, but since we're
Can do it
giving
as a
everybody a
resolution.
break, we can do it a little bit simpler, so we just need a motion to approve that
So
resolution.
moved.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Thursday, second by Commissioner McCrone. Any further discussion?
Is there a deadline? When are we, is this indefinite at this point?
A year or what?
We didn't put a termination date in there, and because it's a resolution, you can change it whenever you want to.
Any other further discussion from the audience? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Jetty Park name change, y'all asked me to determine if this is something that we can do. It's city property. There's no connection to that name to any kind of grant or anything that we may have gotten for that project. You didn't ask me to figure out whether or not it's a good idea, but some of the comments that I heard were, there's a lot of resources in the city on the website, on maps, and the Chamber of Commerce redevelopment agency that already identify this thing as Jetty Park. And if you were gonna change the name, it ought to be done, some point in the future so that people don't immediately have to go redo all their maps or change some of the money they've, change some of their advertisements and that kind of thing. So it's
Right,
gonna cost
so what
some
you're
money to
saying,
make
if
the
we're gonna
change,
do it, make it effective a year or so down the line.
something like that. And that's all I've got.
Because like Bill was saying, he's doing maps, and I've had that same type of situation, same type of calls that, guys, we just spent all this money, so I don't have a problem with it. I make a motion and we move forward with it, but contingent upon, let's just giving it a year from this date before we do anything with that.
That's in the form of a motion.
That's my motion.
All right. A motion from Commissioner Thursday. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Ashbrook. Any discussion? Anyone in the audience have a discussion on this issue, changing the name of Jetty Park?
I got a question, what you gonna change it to?
That's a good question.
I know that's what I'm wondering.
Clifford Sims.
Y'all don't seem to want to talk about it.
Clifford Sims.
Huh?
Clifford Sims Park. It was brought up by
Y'all
a resident that requested we do that. We haven't had any feedback, any negative feedback on it, changing the name. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
That's all I've got.
All right, Jim.
Yes, sir. The first item we have is under old business, 102 Stone Drive. We actually currently have a stop work order in place. It was put in place by the commission over probably 2 months ago. Did have conversations with Mr. Mike today. He is still looking for other possibilities on other property. Nothing definitive at this time, but I also did send him out a listing of MLS lots that are available.
Mr. Mike, you want to address this tonight?
Yes, sir. I got the list, thank you so much, and I'm trying to do my best to work with the city. I was reminded today by the manufacturer that I am not the only party that needs to be this needs to be acceptable to. I also have the finance because the home and the land are financed together as a package. It's a home land, just as if You know, it was being stick built on the premises, site built, I should say. So we have to consider that as well. And I was also informed that the manufacturer has been working with Mr. Creel about to make the home acceptable for putting on the site legally. And I'm not sure exactly what was discussed, so I don't know, other than the manufacturer told me that it was minimum, what was required. So if that's the case, and if we come to an agreement with Mr. Creel legally, I ask that the board or the commission on contingent of agreement between the building department and the manufacturer, if they agree what needs to happen in order for this house to meet everybody's legal acceptance, that you pass a resolution to lift the building, the stop work order contingent upon that agreement. Because the only thing that's stopping it right now is your concerns about the foundation and whether or not it was legal. Well, now we have an agreement, or at least a gentleman's agreement in place of what needs to happen. Let's go ahead and get that moving forward, and we can't do it until the stop work order is lifted. Now, I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna still be looking, and I saw the property, so I'm gonna do my part. But I also want the commission to know that the manufacturer has been losing money, and they're fixing to go get their big time, the corporate lawyers involved. And if they already haven't got involved and talked to your city attorney yet, I don't know, because I'm not involved in that. They're worried about their position, not me. I haven't. I'm doing my best to try to work with you all. But I just want you all to know that the longer you put this off, the more it could cost down the road. And once those big city lawyers come in, oh God almighty, I don't even want to even imagine what might happen. Except to say that the manufacturer is very comfortable with their position. Okay? Now, whatever we do, and I think I told I'm sorry, Mr. Anderson, wasn't it? Yeah. I think I told him today, no matter, or when we talked, Mr. Mayor, no matter what we do, the whole crux of it is, it looks like a mobile home. Okay, it may meet modular home, it may be legally a modular home, but in the end, no matter what we do, it's gonna look the same aesthetically. And people on that neighborhood's not gonna be happy either way. And I'm doing my best to try to work with everybody, because I don't wanna be, I don't wanna be the bad guy, and I told you this over the phone. So I just want you all to realize that to save the city money, you might want to consider lifting that stop work order before the highfalutin lawyers come into town. Okay? And it won't be on me, so please don't blame me. All right?
Jim, has Mr. Creel come forward and said that there is an approved plan
No,
for the
sir.
foundation?
To my understanding, what has happened to Mr. Creel has been approached by the modular manufacturer, to my understanding. Mr. Creel has told me that he's not going to do anything until he hears back from this board, since there's talk. Or if it's the wish of this board for him to look at something along the lines of an approved plan, he's indicated he would bring it back for you.
So it is your understanding, Jim, that there is no negotiation going on between the mobile home company and Bo Creel?
I've heard there was a discussion as to what would be brought, but Mr. Creel indicated to me that he was not moving
He
on
would not move
anything
forward with it.
until he got approval from you.
What kind of approval does he want?
Well, you have a stop work order that's put in place, so I think what he's looking for is a directive from the board that if you want him to negotiate something to bring it back to you, I'm sure.
I don't believe we intended for him to stop working toward the solution, if that's the question.
If he gets a foundation plan that complies with the law, then he needs to bring that back to the board
That's what I'm asking.
immediately.
That would be what I'd say, is tell Bo,
Get you a plan and
we
let you look
get
at
a
it.
plan to us and we can make a decision.
And I'll form the contractor too.
Okay.
Piece that.
Alright. Okay.
Mr. Mike, once again, I want to let you know this is not personal.
I understand that, I just don't want to be the bad guy, that's all I'm trying to say. I'm doing my best to try and find a suitable solution.
And I appreciate that.
The next item we have is the reference to Northwest Florida Water Management District grant. continue to work this. This is dealing with the lime pre-treatment process at the water plant as well as a distribution line from 10th Street down to Highway 71. Currently, we're $106,000 short. Mr. Philip Jones has had conversations with the Water Management District. We're looking at doing some construction work ourselves. There's a road that's involved in getting part of the construction phase of it and also the containment of the actual tank itself. Staff is looking at this as well. Plan is by the next meeting to have some options for you to say, hey, this is how much construction work we believe we can do. We've got to get approval from the Northwest Florida Management District as well. They've also said there is an opening 10-1 of new funds available, so we're trying to get a feel for how much money they're talking about. So not only look at funding for completing this, if there's other ideas of things you want to do, let us know, because there's a new funding cycle coming open too. So.
Jim, is it possible to get that lime system up and running with the grant money that we've got, and then whatever's left over, start purchasing the pipe for the next phase?
That's what we're going to try to ask for. We're going to ask for that as an option, yes, because we don't want to delay putting on one part or the other, but there's also the options we're looking at with staff that we may take on a bigger role with this construction and get it all done with one swoop. Last item we have under old business is Highway 98 golf cart crossing. Mayor Patterson would have talked to you tonight about it.
Yes, and I've been approached by several people, a lot of people, either call me on the phone or stop me on the street, and they just want to know when are we going to be able to cross Highway 98 with our golf carts. And I think that's the consensus of most golf cart owners is to cross Highway 98. You want to get to the shopping center over there, you want to get to Jetty Park, all kind of stuff happening on that kind of street. We're having a Scholar Festival coming up soon, well, you're not going to be able to drive your golf cart across there, but I know there's a lot of people that would like to, so I promised some people I'd get this on the agenda one more time for discussion, and I know we've got several people in the audience tonight for this, and I'd like to know if anyone would like to talk about crossing 98 in your golf cart at this time.
I'll go first.
Okay? Come on, you gotta come to the podium, state your name.
I'm Ronnie with Chamber of Commerce. We should all be getting to know each other by now. I personally, with the Chamber events we have coming up is a golf cart poker run. It's gonna start in this downtown area. It would be great to be able to cross over to the Hottie. So definitely support it. Just as long as everybody else here in the audience, I'm sure, is here for the same reason. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Anyone else?
See what you got to say.
Yeah, roll tide. Gary Madison, Port St. Joe. I'm a golf cart owner, and I'd love to be able to drive over to Jetty Park, to the marina, to the Pig, and all the bank, all those places. And I think there are quite a few number of other people that would like to do that. But I'd like to find a way to do it where we weren't spending taxpayer money, or there was a way to pay the taxpayers back. Because we're only dealing with, say, 100 or so people that currently have carts. And there's a lot more people that live within the city limits. So I don't want anything to be done that's unjust to those other people. So if you can come up with a way to maybe finance the deal, get the study done, move forward with it, but have a way to bring that money back in for the taxpayers, that's what I would say.
And there has been some discussion today. I've had discussion with someone that's willing to help us with the financial part of it.
And as a, a cart owner, I'd be willing to chip in extra money for my decal or whatever.
Right.
So.
We had somewhat of a discussion. We've got a one-time fee, I think it's $35 for a decal for a golf cart, and that's lifetime. And there has been some discussion about having an annual update for like $10 a year. So I personally rather see a one-time assessment on a golf cart of $25 or $30. I think we've got 140 golf cart permits in the city. a one-time assessment, $25, $30 versus a $10 annual, update for your decal. So that would just about get us enough money to do the study. I think our last study, Clay, was around 4,000, is that in the ballpark? Somewhere in there, and I've had some golf cart owners call me and say they were against any kind of assessment. I've had some say they would be fine with it, but with raising the water rates, I can't see spending $4,000 taxpayers' money on a golf cart crossing.
Can I just say something?
So
Clay, go ahead, Ronnie.
We live in St. Joe Beach, I mean, and we would be willing to pay just to bring our golf cart over just for my event that I'm having. So that's, I mean, you might get extra money out of that too, just not city residents.
right. So I would like us to consider a one-time assessment.
Mr.
25,
Brazil.
30. Originally, we said 50 because there were 100 permits, but there's 140 now, so
What I was kind of thinking was, and I know that Mayor Patterson's working his hiney off to try to get this thing done. And I think everybody must have been thinking on the same terms today, because I talked to Mr. Risch with Preble and Risch today. And I said, you know, we're in a situation, I think it would better our city. But the thing that is every year we gotta spend $1,000 to get this thing permitted for 71 and for 98, that's $2,000. If we could charge maybe $12, $13, $15 a year and do away with that, so that we've got the money to pay Preble and Risch. Am I correct in saying that Preble and Risch could possibly do this for nothing? Not for nothing, but do it for the city, an in-kind for the city.
Well, we certainly don't be the cog in the wheel here or anything like that, but just backing up a second, on the 71 crossing, when you got the original permit, one of the requirements in that permit was a year later you do another study.
Right.
We did that, submitted it, they accepted it, and they told us at that point that you're done. So
Okay.
71 should be done, assuming there's no future wrecks or accidents or some peak and that kind of thing, that they would come back and look at it again. So there shouldn't be any more annual recurring cost to 71. I would anticipate if you did a 98 crossing, that would be the similar type timeline and cost with that. You know, it'd be an initial deal, and then you get the permit a year later and you redo something. So that answers that part. The second part, obviously, like I said, we don't want to be a cog in the wheel, so we'll work with the city however we can. And,
Well, you and Ralph gonna split it up here.
The other thing I was, understood was the most expensive part is the engineering part.
Right.
Where you have to get the people out on the street, and it was maybe a suggestion that Mr. Bill Kennedy, with his great knowledge and engineering experience, that we might could maybe talk him into helping us out there, and some expenses on getting the engineering part done as far as the traffic study goes. I understand last time they did 4 different shifts of 6 hours each. And I don't know if you have to be an engineer to count cars, but I'd be willing to serve a 6-hour shift.
We'll discuss this tomorrow, Mr. Mayor.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I actually did.
I think we can probably figure out all of that,
But anyway, I think we can move forward with this and work this out, but guys, I do think we're gonna have to start at least charging a $10, $15 monthly fee, I don't think.
The only thing I'm against that, Commissioner Thursby, is it's ongoing, put somewhat of a burden on the police to run around and check, make sure that little dot's clipped where it's 2016 or whatever. That's the only thing I would have a problem with.
And I'm fine not doing it, because I was under the impression that it was a yearly thing, that we had to pay $1,000 a year every year.
I would much rather do a one-time assessment.
And I'm fine with that, maybe pay for it.
Well, let me throw a clog in that wheel.
Okay.
I was more thinking like a $10 a yearly fee, but it's an inspection fee. I see golf carts today going down the road where the tail lights aren't working. I saw one just this morning. I know who he was, I won't call his name. I'm gonna let him know he's got a tail light in his.
Yeah, but who's gonna inspect them?
Yeah.
We can do it right down there at Public Works, set an appointment.
What time's Matt gonna be there?
Yeah, I would certainly like to
I
hear.
don't know, but I mean, we gotta do something to keep the golf carts in compliance with what they should be doing.
Well, they follow the
Running
same
lights,
thing as a
brake
car.
lights, all that kind of stuff. If you don't have some kind of,
Brake lights are not on the ordinance. Turn signals are, but brake lights are.
brake lights or not, maybe they will.
While we're talking about it too, Mayor, we need to stress that a child cannot operate a golf
No.
cart on the street. And I had a man call me today that said that he looked out his window, he knows who I am, said he saw a 6-year-old driving a golf cart down Monument Avenue.
I've seen young people driving them too.
So, we've got some issues with that needs to be resolved.
And that's on the parents.
We've got an ordinance in place, I mean, you
Right.
not just enforce the ordinance we've got.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah,
If somebody
You gotta
gets that
catch 'em.
report, he go around there, I shot that.
yeah.
And you know, we don't wanna write tickets, but if that's what it takes, then that's what we'll have to do.
With a kid driving in a police car.
That's when you make the call.
I mean, I see all of them, I see them all.
You also have the golf carts without the stickers on them at all. You're talking about paying for them? There's a lot of golf carts out there, ain't got no stickers.
I agree. Seen that too.
They ain't paying nothing.
Just speaking from before, let me tell you this, I don't see how it could be too big a deal over crossing 98 on a golf cart, because there's one guy here in St. Joe, lost his license, will never get him back to DUI. He's got a three-wheel car, and he came out of two. He crosses 98 all the time to go down here to the Hungry Highway.
And Mr. Kramer, those are considered medical assist, and there's nothing the law can do about those.
And on top of that, you
Yeah.
don't have a tag on that.
Right, there's nothing you can do, can you, Matt?
And he was told by the chief, the past chief, to go ahead and do it, he could do it.
Well, what it is, according to state law, I think Matt agreed with me, there's nothing they can do about those.
So if he can cross it on a three-wheel cart, with no tag, drunk, why can't I cross it on a golf cart and never have to do you?
I agree with that.
I said, why I gotta go there?
Hey, ma'am.
All right, hold it.
Ed,
We'll have to have you come to the podium.
yeah, okay.
I went
Ms.
down
Short
there
can't
today,
keep up with the
told the people on
agenda.
the other side of the highway to see if they would help us with this fee. Ronnie Butler said he'd go $200 anytime because he thought it was necessary. I went and talked to Ralph Rish. Ralph said it's a must. He said, I don't know for sure if I did the study last time or not. I think I did. He called you and somebody else to see if he did the study. He said, if I did the study, I'll donate all my money toward the fee.
He told me he would work with us as much as he could.
And that's what I'm getting at. I believe we gotta just come up with a way where we can start paying for this thing. It's not fair to ask, them to do it for free, but if we can start figuring out a way to pay for it.
Well, Mayor, you, have talked to, Rebel Rich, they've talked to you.
Where you going, Bill?
And Clay said there's some things we could work on. Why don't we table it the next meeting and we get more definitive information about how much it's gonna cost? Can we do
We
that?
gotta pick out a road to cross on.
For us, that's the bigger thing than the cost is, you need to tell us what it is.
It's easy if you don't do it at a stoplight too. Right, you don't have to count as many cars. You do it at Second or Fourth Street.
It's, how that thing's spelled out, how DOT spells out on the study is based on the stop condition at the intersection, you have different requirements you have to meet. And they're different for intersections that have stoplights versus intersections that don't.
Those intersections, because they're all one way.
We're gonna turn them around one of them. I know we gotta turn them around, but I would say
I'd like to
Second or
see us
Fourth
do it in
Street.
First Street.
I don't think they're gonna let them turn around.
I'd like to.
Turn lanes are already established by the DOT.
Can't do it.
No, that's not.
I'd just like to see us do it at First Street.
No, but
First Street is gonna be too bottled up with a stoplight. You ain't gonna be able to make it on First Street or Fifth. It'll have to be Second or Fourth. And whichever one you put it on, you gotta just turn your parking spaces back the other way like they were.
yeah, but you already got your turn lanes off at 98, is what we're talking about. Established
We
on
don't
98.
have any control over a section of those streets between 98 and Reed.
Yeah.
All I'm don't know, if they can throw it across Back Beach Road, Middle Beach Road, and Front Beach Road, we should be able to pass anything we want to. I mean, let's get it real
They
here.
do it at a traffic light though.
All right, so why don't we just table this for 2 weeks?
I've got one last comment that I'll make, and then I'll be more than happy to make the motion to table it. As far as financing goes, where are we putting the money that we're currently collecting for golf cart fees?
Currently, right now, it goes into your general fund, but being a $35 a year, or $35 annual, or lifetime, there's not much money
Well,
coming in.
here's the next gorilla in the room. Nobody knows where they can cross. There's no signage. I think that we should take any monies that come in from golf cart fees and put it back and start improving the golf cart crossing areas when we do decide to do it. Nobody knows. I have guests coming to my hotel that have rented a golf cart. Where can we cross? They don't know.
You don't know Reed Avenue?
No, they
There's
don't
no
do
signs.
that.
There's nothing that says cross at Reed.
There's a sign.
There's two big signs, there's a big sign on both sides.
71.
Okay.
That was part of the requirement.
Okay.
But we can do it
But
later.
I mean, as far as maintenance of that, I mean,
No, I agree with that. We need to.
and maybe we want to do another crossing later on.
Phil, you have anything else you want to say?
Where does TDC stand on this? Is anybody, I know William, you told me you just got on the board.
And I have not spoken to them about it. Maybe that the next meeting I can speak to them, and I'll be glad to call Jennifer this week and talk to her and see what she's
I
going to do.
mean, you know, I know we can all look around and see we're a tourist community. On both sides of us, and Rex can attest to this, on both sides of my house, I have tourists living in them now. And, you know, I just think this would be a big benefit for, if we're gonna be a tourist community, to help the tourists. I mean, you know, people, I've had a dozen people tell me if they could cross 98, they'd buy a golf cart. So, I think it'd be a lot more permit coming in if we can find a way to do this.
Well, I think we're okay with let's go ahead and we can move forward with this. We just got to get our heads together and find out where we're gonna do and let, Prevalent Rich know where we want our crossing to be, correct?
Correct.
I don't think we have any choice, man. We got two choices. We got 71 at the light and First Street at the light.
But you can't run down 71, it's a state highway.
Right.
So,
That leaves First Street.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I can enlighten y'all a little bit. I slept at a Holiday Inn last night, so I'm an engineer now. But I did read the traffic engineering manual today. And First Street is gonna be really hard to do. Number one, it's not a 90-degree parallel intersection. In the DOT specs, they frown on it. If it's not 90 degree, you can hang it up. Number two, our turn lanes at First Street are not conducive to what DOT wants. In our left-hand lane coming southbound on First Street, we have a turn and straight. DOT doesn't want that. For a golf cart crossing, you have to have a straight lane on the right-hand side. So keep that in consideration about First Street, because I don't think it would ever fly. Now, Blake could back me up or deny whatever I'm saying, but that's what the manual says. So they look at an alternate, second, third, fourth, or whatever. But I think you gotta rule out First Street. So it means turning the one-way signs around.
Right, tell us.
Why don't we do this? There's gonna, no, you're absolutely right. There's gonna be requirements for every intersection you pick. And even at the 71 intersection, we didn't meet every requirement, and we had to get a variance for it from DOT. But why don't we do this? Why don't I reach out to DOT, have them, because they looked at all those intersections 4 or 5 years, or 3 or 4 years ago, something. Just tell them that, you know, we wanna look at it again. Have them kind of help lead us into, is First Street gonna pass, you know, possibly versus a second or a fourth or whatever. And just get some guidance from them on letting them lead us to the right intersection, and then we come back and, you know, we tell you what we found out. Y'all say, the heck with it, we're gonna do what we want, or we'll go that route or whatever, you know.
That sounds good to me.
Because there is no guarantee that, just because you do this study and you turn it in, there's no guarantee they're gonna give you a permit. So they kind of need to be on board from day one anyhow, you know.
So you can hit that up?
I can do it.
So I guess that's where we are right now, everybody. We're working in the right direction. It's just Rome wasn't built in a day, and this golf cart crossing won't be either. So we're working on it, and I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that a lot of citizens in town want, and I think it would really help the community a lot. So, yes, one more time, come on.
Mayor, can I
Yes, sir.
get the police chief to help us get
He didn't give his permission.
Actually, I ran across it.
Or he can ask, everybody can ask forgiveness.
Nobody saw me, so.
So we will continue to work on this, everybody. It's something that I envision that really would be beneficial to the community. And I know a lot of our citizens really want it. And so we're all gonna work that way and have something. We'll be crossing 98 one day soon. Okay? Thank y'all for being here tonight. All right. Hey.
All right, Mayor, on the new business, fee waiver request for the Centennial Building TDC Film Crew. I talked with Ms. Jennifer Jenkins today. She is still working out details with NBC, so she said at this point to go ahead and release it to let y'all use it wherever it needs to, not hold it.
All right, you go and go.
Okay, fine.
See ya. Good one to see ya.
Conversing out there.
But anyways, Mayor, Jennifer's short skinny, Jennifer said she did not need it for the end of February and March. She'll come back to you if she needs it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. The next item we have is the reference to kiosk signs. The kiosk signs we have, there's one in most of our parks. They're probably 18 years old. They're starting to get weathered, starting to show their age. They need to be updated. I talked to Ms. Jenkins a little bit about that as well today. Something to take a look at. Let's get our thoughts together because they look pretty bad. We're probably
They do. I've been on Jim about that, and I'm gonna follow up with Jennifer on that also, guys.
Do we get any of that TDC bed tax money at all?
She is looking at possibly having some money in the budget for this year in there. I think Commissioner Thursby furnished some of that information.
Some more money put in there this year, Commissioner McCrone.
Good, good.
The next item we have is the reference to Cape Sewer billing. Cape Sewer system's a little bit different than what we have on any of our other utilities in that we don't own the water system that we read to get our billing for sewer on there. Talked with Mr. Jay Risch this past week, trying to look at different options on there. Things like turn-ons, turn-offs, for meter replacement, those kind of things. We need to have that information in order to make sure our billing is correct. He's gonna look at some different options for us as far as trying to figure out how we could get that information to us. Possibly handling billing. I told him to look at all of it to bring you back some options on that. Commissioner Bezet also had some ideas too as to what we may.
Yeah, just thought, I mean, we're losing a lot of money out there, bottom line, because they can't keep up with all the changes and ownership changes and so on and so forth. My idea was we have a base rate, and whether or not they are having water turned off or not, there will be a base rate associated with our, we'll call it contract with the homeowner, no matter what they do with their water. Or if they sell their home, they would have to come to the city with their closing document showing who the new owner is. So there would always be an ongoing base rate charge for that location, no matter if water's on or off, no matter if ownership change, whatever. That way, at least we will be getting the base rate from the location. You can call it a convenience fee or whatever you want to call it, but bottom line is we're providing the sewer, and a lot of times we're not getting paid. And if they doing it that way, if they get in arrears, we can put a lien on the property. And that's trying to make it easy as we possibly can for the staff at the city, and as well as the taxpayers are getting, we're raising sewer rates right now, and if we could start collecting what we have out there and plus add more customers, we can maybe next year not have to raise them again. But we're losing money on the Cape. We need to get, I personally like to get everybody on sewer out there and get off septic tanks protect our bay. But, that's a long-term process. But I would certainly like us to consider a convenience fee or just a base rate fee that would be ongoing for the location of our sewer. So, you guys, I don't know if we need to make a motion to that effect, or you wanna wait till Mr. Rich gets back with you with those options, but I'd like to keep this on the, agenda, and, next meeting I'll be prepared to make a motion if we don't come up with something better.
That's fine. Get Jay on board, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to see what,
He's got-
Lighthouse has to offer on that.
Oh, yeah.
With Jay.
No, I think we need to look at all this because we know there's potential with the Cape. If we're going to move in the direction of trying to provide these services to these folks out there, we need to make sure that we have a billing process that's going to make sure we do it. Like Mr. Bezet was talking about, the easy way on that is right now, let's say if Mr. Jones comes in here, come in tomorrow and say, I want to turn off my sewer system, I'm moving. But guess what? There's not a locking mechanism on that sewer. I could come in today and say I'm turning it off and still live in that house and still get sewer. So, what you could do is instead of telling somebody, in order to terminate your service, you've got to show us that somebody else is moving into that location, but you're gonna get at least a base rate until somebody else takes over that billing cycle for you. But yes, we are working on this very often. The next item we have tonight is the old Ward Ridge City Hall building. You've had a lease on it for a number of years with Sutherland. They were a good tenant. They actually took over from the previous tenant. But it's not in their business plan to continue on with that lease. So at this point, the building is vacant, so it's there for you to talk about tonight. Commissioner Thursby want to talk to you.
Well, I spoke with Jim earlier in the week, and he and John Grattan had been out there, and they had talked, and told me, it looked really nice out there, guys. I hadn't been out there, but I would like for all of us, in between meetings to, let's go out there and look and see what we think about until maybe we can come up with something else to, possibly putting a little bit of money into that, moving our stuff out there and possibly holding our meetings out there at the old, Ward Ridge City Hall. Y'all go by and look at it over the next couple of weeks, and we'll talk about it again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I looked at it today. It's very nice, very nice. I mean, I don't know if it's pink or what, but the carpet is
mauve,
yeah, mauve. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for.
Relaxing.
But anyway, I wouldn't want to see us spend a lot of money out there, but if we ever get the museum property, we'll have to spend money there. So, but I think we could tweak it a little bit and make it work.
I don't think you'd have to spend a lot of money to utilize what's there.
Everybody would overlook the mauve carpet. We've got a very nice meeting place.
What kind of capacity do we have? Can we fit more
It's
folks?
larger than this room.
Yeah,
So I think it was
We'll
situated.
go look at it, and
They utilize part of that as a chapel, and it's pretty.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, first I need to come up here, can I say what I want to say from my seat? In reference to.
It's better as you go up.
Be nice. Why not consider the Washington Gym, since you're moving around town, let's rotate it sometime to the Washington Gym on the north side.
We want a permanent.
We're talking about a permanent place, ain't it, that's handicap accessible and all, is what?
Well, Washington Gym is handicap accessible.
Well, we just talking about that as a permanent place, meet place.
That's a place to consider, you own the Washington Gym.
it's a gym. They use it for basketball. We want something that we can go in and stay at, not move our stuff back and forth. We're not wanting to do this every week.
Yeah, we're gonna use it as a permanent
location.
meeting place, not as a, not moving back and forth.
What's the other? Anyway, that was those other offices that you have over there too. And there's a lot of space over there. But since you was talking about different places and they wouldn't take that much or something permanent, just throw that in that space there too.
We can look into it.
The next item we have is a flashing sign on 20th Street. Commissioner Thursby want to talk to you tonight about it.
Guys, we had the signs put out by the elementary school the flashing signs with the speed that flashes up there on it. And, Jim is currently, I guess we're still in the process of trying to find one to possibly put one on 20th Street there by Faith Christian School. I know they've had some speed problems on 20th, plus we have the school right there. They had, sometimes Faith Christian seems to be forgotten there, so kid safety, I'm all about, and I'd like to, let's look forward, look for some more options. Have you talked to anybody, Jim?
Yes, Chief Herring is working this for us. He's actually been working with the sheriff's office. The two that you have currently down on Long Avenue, those were given to us by the county. The sheriff's office that gave us those before. So he has two more that I believe that he's looking into.
The county doesn't have any, but the city of Weewa does. And they got them through the sheriff's office on a grant, and they're not using them. So the sheriff's going to their city commission meeting on the 28th, and he's gonna ask if they're not gonna use them, will they give them to us, and we'll use them.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll know something.
All right, I appreciate that, y'all.
The next item we have is a reference to a speed bump on 6th Street. Commissioner Thurston will talk tonight about it.
Y'all, I live on 6th Street. I've had several neighbors come to me since I've been on the board, and I didn't want to say anything, because I don't want somebody thinking I'm just doing it because I live on that road, but I live on a kind of a unique road for any road in Port St. Joe. You have 4 residential houses on one side, and you have 3 parking lots with the telephone office and the bank. Cars running up and down there, I mean fast all week long. I don't know that speed bumps are the way, but I'm asking for each of you commissioners to ride by and look at it, see what y'all think. Maybe we could do smaller type speed bumps, maybe a different sign, maybe lower the speed limit in there or something. But in the morning times, 8 o'clock, they're flying to work, trying to get to work. I understand that. I've been in the same type situation before, but it's a unique place because you have places that people live, but there's not another neighborhood in Port St. Joe that has 4 houses on a road and the rest of it residential. I mean, the tower and the bank branch office right there, it doesn't bother me one bit in the world, but they're busy. The parking lot, when I say the tower. So I just encourage y'all to ride by this week and try to help me come up with a solution, because the other morning at 8 o'clock, there was one trying to get to work so much she couldn't correct, she just ran up in my yard. That's when I got thinking about it. So I'm just asking for y'all's help on it, and in 2 weeks, I'm gonna bring you back and see what we think. I got anything else on here? Good.
The next item we have is delineators on Highway 98. Commissioner Zett want to talk to you tonight about it.
We talked about that last meeting, the problems right at Hungry Howie's and McDonald's. Folks turning across the double yellow line, stopping basically right under the traffic light with cars piling up behind them. And I was totally against them when they proposed it 3 or 4 years ago, but I've come to the conclusion that we need to do it. I got with the chief, he and I went down. He actually made some Facebook videos of an individual turning and let people know that that was illegal. He has gotten some feedback on it, and talked to John Grantland. John has talked to the Transfield individual, and I would like to see, basically I make a motion that we proceed with the delineators at Hungry Howie's and the McDonald area, and we direct the John at Public Works to contact the powers to be to get the ball rolling.
Where's the money coming from?
The state, yeah, DOT.
Are they gonna maintain it? Because I think that was the argument before, they just never were maintained. It looked like a bulldozer plowed them over every other week.
Well, I think they were a little different before than they are now, but yeah, we would have to maintain them. There's no question about that.
Matt, what was the feedback? Because I've heard a lot of feedback too, and my feedback wasn't good about them. And I'm not going against.
Nobody wants them.
I don't know about the delineators. I think what Commissioner Gazette's referring to is we put some service videos on Facebook. And a lot of people didn't realize that you can't turn across a double yellow line like that.
Yeah.
My concern, and I thought about this since you and I went out there, another issue is people that come out and wanna turn left coming out. It's not just left going in. Left coming out is pretty bad too. So if you put the delineators up, you're gonna wanna put them up far enough they can't, they're gonna be forced to go right. Or go to the next block and come out, especially Hungry Howie's, at the light.
Yeah, turning left out of there and out of McDonald's, you're turning across 2 lanes of traffic, or 3 at McDonald's actually, but turn lane, a straight lane, and then the lane gets going back to the north. So anyway,
I wish there was something else we could come up with. I just don't like the looks of it.
I don't either.
I think we need to look at it a little further before we, I know there's a problem there, but.
There's some palm trees in it.
But
We
anyway,
got a motion, wait a minute.
Oh, 1 minute now. Okay, we got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Brazil. Do we have a second?
I don't have a problem with withdrawing it and studying a little more as far as a different type of delineator, if that's what you guys are really, are you against delineators at all, or are you just against the yellow plastic?
I know we gotta do something. If you bring us something back that,
A little more.
yeah, we can look.
Aesthetically
I'm against what we
pleasing.
had before, but something new.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a little bit pricey. I think we were gonna have to, but John, if you wouldn't mind, once again, talk to them and see what other options we have there, because we're gonna have a problem with folks talking on the phone and texting, and they don't look up, and if somebody stopped to turn in, we're gonna have a problem.
It's definitely a problem. You're right on the money.
I'm not wanting to hurt Hungry Howie's or McDonald's, but we've got a traffic problem there. So I'll work with these guys, we'll come up with something.
So you rescinding your motion?
Yeah, I'm withdrawing it. We'll down to after a second anyway.
I didn't know which way to call it.
Yeah, either way.
Yes, Ms. Amy.
I just wanna make it clear in my mind, so what you're discussing is, if I coming from off of 71 from Weaver Hitchcock, and then I turn over in the right-hand lane on Highway 98, going to Hungry Howie's, so if I turn left over those double yellow lines?
You're breaking the
That's
law.
against the law, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, a lot
Same
of
thing
people
at
don't know.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Same thing in McDonald's, you're coming off First Street, Reed Avenue.
Right.
And take that right and,
Yep.
see, a lot of people don't know that.
Same thing at Avenue C.
It's also illegal to come out from Hungry Howie's and make a left turn.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, you're not supposed to cross the
I'm
double
supposed to
yellow
cross
line.
this double yellow line, but like I say again, Avenue C, coming from the bridge this way, you can't turn on Avenue C.
To go to the Methodist,
Oh, you got double yellow line.
to go to the Methodist church when you put.
No, that's B. That's B. I'm talking about Avenue C.
That's on Avenue C.
Well, whichever Avenue C is, you cannot turn off of 98 coming from the bridge this way, because you'll turn across 2 yellow lines.
Yes, Avenue C, if
C.
that's illegal.
It's
or
C.
not. No, Avenue C, then you can turn by Avenue D and the market.
Right.
But you go to Avenue C, you cannot turn. It's
B,
the
you
double
can.
line.
B, you
Yeah,
can.
but C
But
is
it's C, you
It's
can.
safe, it's safe.
when you wanna go to the church, AME church, you
Yeah.
go it's wrong.
It's the one before there.
Yeah.
Well, that's. No, you're right. We're right there.
It is safe.
I see it.
All right, the next item we have is employee wellness program. Commissioner Zep, want to talk to you now?
Okay, guys, when we had our budget hearing on our health insurance for employees, I said I would go out and try to get with some folks and come up with some kind of wellness program for our employees. I think it's very important to be responsible for your own health, but sometimes you need a little prodding. And I'm working with Dwight Van Leer and Sarah Hines at the health department. That's what she does. She was very excited about it. She was out of town today and couldn't be with us. But I will have something concrete that would empower and incentivize our employees to take better care of themselves, as well as make sure everybody has a physical at least once a year. So I will be coming back with some ideas. Our insurance this year went up 15 how much? 9%, and it was very hard to get it down to
16
9%
to start with.
because our experience rating with our employees this year was off the charts. And our percentage on all the major disease states is way above the statewide average. So we need to do something. So I will bring it back.
All right, the next item we have is commercial utility rates. Mayor Patterson, want to talk to you now about it?
Yes, I do. You know, we have a commercial 1, and we have a commercial 2, and we have a residential. Well, my problem with the commercial is small businessmen. And I don't know exactly what the differences are, but I know I'm a small businessman. And I pay a lot more for my water than a residential guy does, but I may use less. And I feel like this is the only place I know that the more you buy, the more it costs you. I'm kind of going the wrong way in my book. I mean, the more water you buy, the more you have to pay for it. I would think the more you buy, your rate might come down just a little bit. But on the commercial rates, I mean, we may use 500-600 gallons of water and pay the same thing as a residential was paying for 4,000 or 5,000. And it doesn't seem fair to me.
The same thing
I want us
goes
to try
for
to do
business,
it.
the more you use it, like with residential, it's the same way. And I talked about this 2 years ago, but we just passed the budget on what the water rate is. And do I agree with you? I agree with you 100%. But I think we all found out one thing, and we all agreed to do this. We found out it doesn't matter what a gallon of water costs. That's not what we're worried about. It's worried about, can we pay that $19 million or $17 million debt that we owe?
$20 million.
So $20 million. So as long as we can pay that, if you do the math and you figure out how much, that's what we gotta do. We gotta charge enough for our water to cover that $20 million debt. I didn't do it, you didn't do it, Dave didn't do it, Jim didn't do it, Tom, I think, part of it. But, I mean, I guess a light finally came on to where I finally realized that it doesn't matter.
The
What
debt-
we do,
the debt drives the
debt's
rate.
the same, and the
It
debt drives the rate.
Yeah.
Right, Jim?
I
And you
still
didn't do
want,
it, Jim, did you?
I don't know, there ain't nothing we can do about it, at least we can talk about it.
I agree with that,
And,
and I agree with you on it.
Maybe in the future, we can look at lowering the rate for those people that use commercial 1, that use less than 1,000 gallons. Maybe releasing their rates just a little bit, just to help the small businessman out.
Well, I think we're
Small
heading in the
business
right
is what
direction.
drives America, if y'all know that or not. It's not big corporations, it's small businesses.
The only problem is, Bo, according to the Burton folks, they say you can't discriminate between the residential and the commercial. So if you lower the commercial, you're gonna have to do the same for the
We're
residential.
not gonna have to, we're gonna have so many new tie-ins this
I
year,
agree.
the next year,
I
we're
agree,
not
but
even
I'm
gonna have
just
to worry
saying.
about it. I'm telling you.
Aren't we already discriminating by calling, tell me
Yeah, we are.
why it costs more money for a business to send their water to the wastewater plant than it does a residential? What costs more money?
You'll have to.
I mean, I just wanna know the why.
There's no reason, it's the rate study, and it's the
But
way
I
it's set
understand
up
we
to
got a
make
big
it look
debt that
good.
we gotta pay, and that's why we have to charge what we have to charge. But still, I mean, most time when you buy in bulk, it gets cheaper. And here in the city of Port St. Joe, it doesn't.
Not.
Well, no, I will say this, and Larry and Lynn, Mike can chime in on this. We have it's not a permit with Northwest Florida Water Management that we use X number of gallons per day as a max. Now, we're not there yet, and I'll agree with you, you use more, you maybe get a break, but they like you to conserve. And so, I think it's 2-point-something million, Larry, what, huh?
3 million?
3 million, and right now we use maybe $1 million when we're
But
running.
it's almost an oxymoron to what we're trying to do.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
More customers, but we're gonna conserve.
Right, we wanna conserve, but we want more customers.
Yeah.
I know that's about all this.
Conserving water,
So that's
you
why
want
I'm
more
saying,
customers.
The more you use, the more you pay is to promote water conservation, that's the primary.
and the more debt the city takes on, the higher the water bills are gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what
I agree, but y'all understand what you're saying, Lee.
water
Right.
conservation is to make you use less.
I know, but what I'm saying is what Bo was saying, I got a family of 5.
I understand.
So my bill, $300, $350 a month. It used to be, I quit bathing all the time now, so, but just kidding, but.
Taking a bubble bath, then.
All right, but anyway, maybe in the future, it's just something we can think about, you know, so some of,
Do y'all realize why we spend so much money out there at the water plant? Is things, cause ain't got nothing, them never bill, that's everything.
Well, I know, we should have done that a long time ago, Miss White.
Really, I'm serious. They could have.
does anyone in the audience want to speak on commercial rates, anything, at this time?
I don't want to run it up.
All right.
Put them around, don't understand.
All right, that's all on the commercial. Well, Miss Amy, come on.
Yeah,
What is the
we
status of
got.
drinking it to drink water from our What is the status of getting it clean so?
Oh, we're working on, that's what this lime stuff we're talking about, this lime system that we're purchasing to go in to put into our water. It's supposed to help us tremendously, take the iron out and the magnesium out of the water. It makes it brown looking at times. That lime solution will help take that out of the water. And there's another chemical we're using costing a lot of money we won't have to use anymore.
What about replacing the pipes that the pipes have now been replaced from the wastewater system all the way through the Northport St. Joe area where it's not completed? Wouldn't those rusted pipes have some effect with the water being brown too?
Oh, yeah. And you know, we're working on that. It's gonna be about next year before we can get anything done on those pipes over there. Because we had somebody drop the ball on it this year. All right.
Last item I have, Mayor's commercial trash pickup. Mayor Patterson wanted to talk tonight.
Okay. We know at one time we used to go down the alleyways, we used to go around town, we'd pick up some trash with our cleaver thing. Then it got to be where people were taking advantage of it. We're not gonna haul your pallets off. You gotta take them to the dump yourself and pay for it yourself. We're not gonna haul that kind of stuff off. But there are some commercial businesses that have very little stuff that they can't fit in their cans. And I know one guy's told me that he talked with the guy from Waste Pro, a lot of times it says, well, this stuff has to be separated before it can be taken. But it said like everything he had to go in one pile, it wouldn't have to be separated. So I'm just wondering if there's something we can do to help some of the smaller people that have little small stuff like that, we can, are we still going through the alleys with our cleaver, or we don't go to them anymore?
Not on the commercial, Mayor, because now we've just limited just the yard debris, because we pay the $51.50 a ton. The yard debris we're taking to our own landfill. Anything else beyond that, we do a special pickup and we assess the homeowner.
So you don't think there's any way we can help out these small businesses picking up some of that stuff that they don't, that doesn't have to be separated?
I dumpster like I do.
Well, that's another
Sometimes
thing.
it's not
you get a
enough.
dumpster.
We don't get enough pickups. At the hotels, we fill up.
Well, I could.
If it's overflowing,
You know, I
they
could
pick up
understand
enough
y'all,
times.
yeah.
But is that y'all's fault or is it Waste Pro?
They're not doing but only 2 pickups a week commercial.
Is that all you paying for?
They won't do more than that.
Oh, they won't do it
They
more
won't
than
do
that?
any more.
Could you add another dumpster?
Not in that enclosure.
Yeah.
That would be the solution.
I mean, you could if you had a bigger enclosure.
We can do it, Mayor, but it's just gonna matter how much money do we wanna allocate to do it, because you're gonna pay $51.50 a ton to pick it.
I don't think you can do it for some and not do it for all, but it's the only thing
Well, the problem before is some people were taking advantage of it.
yeah.
Having a man in his truck out there for 3 hours hauling stuff off. We can't do that. But anyway, I'd like to help these people out on both these 2 items we talked about. I'm gonna look into them some more and see what I can come up with. Mr. John.
Just a couple things real quick before I get to the item on the agenda. Just to let everyone know, the Cape Line, the Sapadilla, that was complete. I sent forwarded Clay that paperwork today, so the next few days, we should have that partial clearance ready for signature and off to FDEP. So hopefully sometime next week, that we can bring that system online. Second thing is the pole was replaced today at the 10th Street softball field. That's in the ground. pole that fell, the power pole, so that's been complete, not complete, but the pole's in.
Right.
The pole is in, so. And getting to the agenda item, the sick leave pool, we recently had an employee that experienced some medical issues that were unforeseen, and it's forced him to take some time off. This employee doesn't have any sick leave. There's a lot of us there at the shop that wish to donate time, and in, cases like this in the past, we came to the board and asked the board if, for a special approval to allow us to do that for individuals, and that's why I'm here tonight, to see if I can get that approval from the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, well, motion by Commissioner Thursby, a second by Commissioner McCrone. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Any questions for me?
Did you ever find out what was causing that backup water over there around 16th Street and McClellan? We talked about it, you said Jimmy went over.
I did, and I went that after you and I spoke, and if you'd like, you and I can get together one day this week, and I'll be glad to discuss that, but I did not see a backup issue. The best I could determine, not seeing the actual event, was, you had several things going against that area. Perhaps it was a high tide, again, I wasn't here. The water did leave that area very rapidly at some point. But if you'd like to go look at it, I'd be glad to do that with you.
No, we get together later.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Mr. Larry.
Commissioners at the St. Joe Beach Booster Station. The tank, that 20-year-old tank out there, the storage tank, is in need of some repairs. Between the salt air and the chlorine that's in the tank, it started to corrode it real bad. And at the very top, there's a lot of rust showing now, and we're gonna have to have something done about it. We're gonna have to have somebody come in and do some, probably fabricate work on it. I need to see if we can actually go out to bid for this.
I went out there with Mr. McLean 2 days ago. We took a look at it. It's actually a fiberglass tank. You look on the sides, it looks pretty good. But if you look on the top, where the bolts are, they're not stainless bolts. And if you look at it, they're rusted through, and they came through on some of the fiber. So it's going to need fabrication work. The thought was, let's just go out there and see what the cost is. There's probably 2 or 3 different ways you can make these repairs out there, but we need somebody that's in the fabricating business to take a look at it, so we can get you some quotes on this thing.
We don't have anybody in-house that can do that type of stuff.
No, sir, I don't think so. This is gonna be somebody that knows how to work with fiberglass and somebody that knows how to work with metal. From the indications we are, it's gonna be more 5,000, probably less than 20, so somewhere in that.
Is the inspection plate, you talking about Larry on that? Is the metal inspection plate that's corroded and ate up? What are we?
No, we're talking about the top, the very top of the tank.
Right.
Where the vent is in the very
Yeah.
top, right around that area. What it is, you have chlorine in the tank.
Yeah.
And over time, that chlorine
I
when
know
it
what
goes
you,
up.
I understand that, I was trying to, it's a fiberglass tank.
Well, it's a steel fiberglass tank is what it's called. Matter of fact, it's called
Is the inner lining fiberglass and the shell?
it's called a
steel?
glass fused steel tank. That's what it's called.
One day, let's come right up and take a look at it, Phil. This
All right.
bolts and there's a bunch of bolts that are rusted on the top of it that need to be pulled off. There's some fiberglass work, so it's gonna be kind of a specialty thing, somebody that knows some fabrication work. Let's take a look at it. But the thought was to try to put some specs together and go out so we can get you some numbers, see what we're up against.
Yeah, how you gonna write the bids?
That's what we've been trying to talk to people, and I think it'll be good for.
Why don't we, will it hurt if we table this, and I'm all for letting,
It's offline.
Commissioner McCrone go out there and look at that. I
Yeah,
know
we've
he
had a
knows
couple of our local fabricators go out there. They do
Right,
that
y'all
too,
look,
so-
everybody put it together, and maybe come up with a plan in a couple of weeks, and let's go back and that way we'll know how to get, at least list the bids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky how you put these specs together.
Right, so, I mean, I'm all for it, let's just get the spec.
All right, well,
Sounds good.
Unless y'all have questions, that's all right.
Larry, that air compressor came in, didn't it, get it?
It actually came in today, was installed today.
Great, great.
A little more than 10 days, but they
That's
got it.
all right. Good
Are
deal.
you full,
Good deal.
you had a full staff?
Yes, sir. Well, no, sir, I'm still down one. I'm still down one.
You got a,
Training.
so you got an opening in the, you got a
We
thing?
was gonna wait till October.
Oh, okay. Lynn, do you have an opening? Okay.
Not until 8 months and 15 days.
That'll be you.
The only thing I have tonight is to let you know that the effluent line has been repaired. It's finished. We test fired it off yesterday and everything was fine, no leaks, everything went well, so that job was complete.
Good, yeah.
And the lagoon is looking good. It's not green, it's not smelling. I think the sonic disruptors are doing their job.
Good.
That's all this is.
I don't know if Jim told you, we're not gonna let you retire, so you.
Gotta run it smooth now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm leaving in good shape. So that's all.
Thank you, ma'am. John, do you have an opening? Still? Got three?
John got one to six people.
Where are we at on those positions?
Just work me through the application.
Two of those have closed, we're currently reviewing those applicants, one is about to close.
Okay.
I don't have anything, Mr. Mayor.
Don't have anything?
Yes, sir.
I got a question. When will we get the final plat on, Patton Park?
Get it down to you this week or next, something like that.
Okay.
We just gotta put it on Mylar, so
Right.
it won't take long to do. I mean, you just need one for signature, is that all you need?
Yeah, that's all I need.
We got it, yeah, we got it.
We don't have
Sir.
anything, thank you.
Code enforcement, see it in your book. Richie sent out a lot of notices to a lot of people about lots not being cleaned up. We got a lot, I looked around town, we got a lot of lots been cleaned up in the last few days, if y'all look. And,
Makes a difference in the way our city looks.
it does, it
Everybody
does.
keeps-
And, several lots that I brought up before, I know is under consideration. We've had phone calls with people saying they're gonna get them cleaned up and things, so, I want our town to look good, so if anyone has a lot, keep it clean. If not, Mr. Ritchie will be visiting it.
And that's Richie, not Reggie.
Right, Ritchie, not Ritchie.
What about our tourist corridor ordinance? Is it effective? Is there
Next
effect-
week, I
Next
believe
week
it's
is
the
effective?
21st, yes, sir.
Effective
Richie,
date?
we look at that, so he is working on violations now, so next week, the ordinance goes into place for the overnight parking in the tourist corridor, so Goodwill's gonna get one. Goodwill?
Whoever, they violate.
Yes, anybody that's got a overnight parking as far as utility trailers and those type of things, they will be prohibited no longer than 7 days starting next week.
Yes, ma'am?
Y'all gonna put up no parking signs down there on Patton Park, like you were talking about a couple weeks ago?
You got people parking over there or something? Moonlight at night? Smooching and stuff like that, or? Oh, they were doing submarine. Yes, ma'am.
What about the, say, you send out notices to the residential, but what about the, commercial, St. Joe Company, you say you was gonna notify St. Joe Company about.
We did, they
They're
cleaned up
good. They're
several,
good.
they have cleaned up several lots around town.
I noticed that, but that.
We sent them
that
letters.
fence on 98 and Avenue Way, the divide north and south, is still those trees and all
Uh-huh.
that behind that sidewalk.
They cleaned it up, didn't they?
No, they cleaned the lot off, but they didn't clean the debris within the trees. They
Ah.
clean around the trees, and you can still see, if you come up 98, you can see North Fort St. Joe, but you can't see with all that other.
I don't think they're done. I saw a tractor there today. And
Yeah, I saw a tractor there
I don't
today.
think they're done.
They're making an effort, I have to
Yeah,
give them.
I do too.
Mr. Howkins did come see me, he said he's gonna be working it hard next week.
Right, and I've been in touch too, so I appreciate that.
All righty. Chief?
Thank you, sir.
I don't have anything tonight. I will get something out to our police officers to start cracking down on golf carts without stickers, and we'll refer them to City Hall to get a permit. We'll start cracking down on our city ordinance, goes with the statute. Be 16 years old and have a valid driver's license to drive a golf cart. So we need to make sure, I can put something on Facebook too, just to remind folks, but
That'd be a good idea.
We can, I'll get something out. I'll let our day shift guys know to watch out on Sixth Street too.
Sounds good.
That's all I got. Anybody got anything for me?
No, sir. Miss City Clerk.
No, sir, I do not have anything.
Sure?
No, sir. Somebody asked, I'll probably answer.
All right, any citizens wish to be heard tonight? Come on up.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to speak as a citizen. Chief, I appreciate you cracking down a little bit on the golf carts. As you all know, I'm a big bicyclist, and I do that probably about 5-6 times a week. I've seen more golf carts on the bike path. That bike path, walking path, running path was designed to be a bike path, walking path, not a golf cart path.
Wow.
I had one gentleman that was over on the grass, and I was coming up, and he got on the path, and I had to, you know, pay attention, respond quickly, had a little conversation, just nice conversation. He wasn't too happy about it. So, you know, that is designed as a biking path, and I would respectfully request that due to safety and due to what the design is, that we also have our police enforce that, and it's just really important. And to your point, I've seen the kids driving golf carts too. We're gonna grow as a community, and I guarantee if we do the right things up front and just go ahead and take care of the hard things that we gotta deal with, the messages will get out. You may get a few phone calls, but this goes back to, you know, doing what's in the best interest of the whole in the community. So I kind of want to tag on to that. Sorry Mr. Mike left, and I won't mention his name again because I don't think it's polite to do that. But I think one thing is, you know, allegedly he's got, you know, a friend that is in St. Joe Beach, and he moved one of these modular trailers to a subdivision, and now that subdivision is going over to Panama City, and they're having their own little court battle and stuff. And you know, I want us to be a welcoming community. I want us to grow. I want us to have more children in our school system. I think that's really important. I think whatever they can pump in. But again, it goes back to, you gotta kind of look at what's in the best interest of the majority. And I'm sorry, if you've got a house that's been built, and you move a modular building that looks like a trailer next door to it, it does impact your value. And so on the other side of the coin, from an economic standpoint, we need all the taxes we can get. And if you've got these kind of buildings moving in and you're eroding your tax base, then although those people might be coming in and helping us, there's also the downside to that. So it's all about, you know, looking at the economic picture and making sure you got good balance. So again, I look forward to our continuous growth, look forward to welcoming folks into our community and into our county, look forward to us having more small businesses, but we need to start setting our goals now of what the growth looks like and what we want the growth to look like, so that everybody can be, you know, neighborly and well impacted in a positive way. So that's all I kind of want to share with you, gentlemen.
Christie, while you're up there, Christie, could I just mention to you, and I don't know if you were here when we did it, but you being on the EDC, we've just done this 30% decrease in our impact fees.
I think that's a great idea.
And I think this board wants to also use that for a economic development tool to help draw businesses in here.
And not just draw businesses, because a lot of times...
Well, to give incentives for businesses.
Correct. And a lot of times, you know, you've got ad valorem taxes, depending depending on the nature and scale of the business, how many jobs they're bringing in, you may waive those. Same thing with impact fees. You may, depending on the nature and the scale of the business, decide to waive those. You know, if they're producing 350 jobs, do you want to waive those impact fees for a couple of years? You may want to do that. But to your point, any way that you can increase the demand on your water system, and we've talked about this a lot, Commissioner Thursby, and have people feel like, okay, I'm getting a better break, I can afford this, that's going to help us all out here in the community.
And that's what I wanna do, is bring that water bill down for our people, you know.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that live on a small income.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just, before we get off of the subject of the golf carts, Chief, you might wanna put in there too that, Garrison, Long, and Monument are only crossover streets. You're not supposed to run as far as you can up those streets. You're supposed to go to the nearest crossover to get to one of the other streets like Marvin or Woodward that you can actually go on up to.
Monuments,
I'm pretty sure Monument's not.
I thought Monument was, approved.
Well, I have to look and see then.
Don't hold me to that.
I know Long and Garrison are
I
not.
agree.
And I was thinking Monument was that same way, but I could be wrong. But anyway, they're supposed to only use those streets to get to a crossover street. Okay, any other citizens wish to be heard?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Annie Rogers, resident and registered voter here of Gulf County. I am a lifelong resident here at Port St. Joe, been here for 57 years. I went through the civil rights movement, saw the change and everything different, changing around. But I stand to say one thing, that there is a Fair Housing Act, and we need to familiarize ourselves with the Fair Housing Act. And anytime you got human beings, I went through the same process myself with modular homes and everything. And there's laws that protect that. Just like our ordinance say with modular homes, there are laws protect that. I don't see where it should be. After we go through the procedure of making sure that foundation is up to par and it's supposed to be followed within the ordinance, this man should be granted to move forward with his construction. He should be granted, just because there's a few people, sometimes the majority is wrong. You know, there's in the civil rights movement, and you can call back sometimes, there's a whole group of people, they want to run folks out of town, run people out of town. But we're living in change right now. And as long as you follow the ordinance, as long as you follow the law, and let this process go through, and let this be education for all of us. I stand solely to treat everyone with respect. When there's a threat to justice anywhere, there's a threat to justice everywhere. I don't want to see no difference in treatment. I put mine down. I don't feel like this man should be treated different with his own modular home. There may be some, we can go on and on with people who want to take their home and say, my house is better than yours, your house. To me, that's kind of childish. Everyone, value their property. And they feel like one is better than the other. But I'm like, we need to stop wasting taxpayers' money on nonsense and move on things and try to clean our water, clean our community up, get some better housing, get housing in here for everyone to be able to live peacefully and at their own expense. And I know that it's just sad. And like I said, it stirs my spirit even as a Christian, the way we're allowing this thing to go in different places. That's what I want to say on that. But other than I want to know the status of the bleachers over in at Peters Park. I see all those bleachers on one side. We need some bleachers on the other side. They need to be bigger.
Have you talked to Commissioner Quinn about that? It was my understanding that he had $4,000 of money in his
Yeah, he was gonna handle that.
money, and I believe he was gonna try to handle that
Yeah.
for us. So maybe tomorrow
I
if you
talked with
could.
him about it, but I didn't know what the status was.
I mean, we just put a $50,000 grant over
He's still
there,
working out through the county.
and then he's supposed to be doing that. So check with him and see what he says on
I
that.
didn't know the date,
I-
time. Just like
There's no date been set, yes, ma'am. We just talked about it that day.
And the next item again, I think it's thoroughly look into the Washington gym because that tile on the floor is just like this tile. There's much space and you can have the workers, the inmates to come in and set it up. You're only talking about 2 to twice a month. It's gonna accommodate several people and that's one of the city's buildings. So why take taxpayers' money and spend it on working, fixing up another facility when you can leave right off Highway 98, go straight down Avenue D, go straight on over, pull in and go to the building for the meeting.
You know what, Miss Amy? When Mr. Ashbrook ran, this past election. You came to me one time and you said, you know, I think people are trying to make this a racist issue. I don't like to see race. And every time I turn around, you think that somebody's trying to be racist. Everything that, I'm gonna tell you something. Me being a racist is the furthest thing I've ever been in my life. Never. I have more friends over in Northport St. Joe than I have over on this side of town. We have done more as a board for Northport St. Joe than has been done over there in the past 40 to 50 years since I've been on this board. And for you to get up here and to sit there and every other word you say is sitting here to make it look like that we think that those people are any different than us, I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. You are wrong. And I've talked to a lot of people, red, yellow, black, white, that live on Northport St. Joe that also think you're wrong, Miss Amy, because I'm going to tell you something. There's not one racist person on this board today. And if you want to talk to me about things that we can do to make this community better, I'm all for it. But if you want to always try to play the race card, I don't want to hear it.
I'm telling you one thing, thank you for your comment, I appreciate it very much. But it's very clear what I said, there's an option. You do the option at Ward Ridge City Hall, that you can have the city commissioners meeting.
So that we don't have to move every 2 weeks.
Giving a solution, it's giving a solution where another city-owned building in the community, that you can rotate your meetings back and forth to accommodate both sides, is have a meeting over here, have a meeting over there. If you think that that's racist, that's very small-minded
Well, you're the
thinking.
one to say
All
the
I'm just saying
sides,
is
because I don't even look at both sides.
No,
See,
that's
you're
not
sitting there
sides.
saying sides.
No,
There's
I
not
was just
both sides
saying
anyway.
that
I'm done.
here's
But
another
I'll tell you
city
something,
commissioner
I'm not
meeting,
racist.
and I wanna make it very clear, if you record the recordings, that what I said is let's rotate the meeting, there's another building. Why pay taxpayers money? Nothing about race now. If you feel that way, perhaps you might be a racist yourself. Because the only thing I'm saying is that there's another city building, let's not spend money fixing up on another building unless you have an alternative motive for it. Let's go have the meeting at another place. And if you feel like that's kind of racist, I
I
mean, that's
do.
very
I feel
small.
like you're racist. I don't feel like I'm racist. I think you're the
No, I'm
racist.
not, I'm just saying, let's rotate it around, let's offer an office, that's all.
We don't need to
Each time I
rotate
say, because this other person, and he's a white male, but I'm just saying, law is the law.
Ms. Amy, can we move on?
Yes, sir, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Any other citizens wish to be heard? Anyone else in the audience? All right, Commissioner Thursby?
Yes, I do got one thing I want to discuss. I talked to Jim this afternoon, and we were talking about uniforms. Guys, for just our uniform service a year, we're spending $20,000 a year in uniform service. We did the math today sitting in Jim's office, and we can supply our guys. I think, we were just playing with numbers now, y'all. We'd have to go out for bids and get some strong numbers. But we looked at, with 52 employees.
You got 52 full-time, not all those were needed uniform.
Right. But buy them all shirts. We could buy them 5 shirts. Is that what we figured it up on? All 50 of them, 5 shirts, somewhere at a cost of around $3,700. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, just playing around with $15.
That's just playing around with like $15 a shirt. I definitely think that we need to direct staff to try to get some ideas together over that, and in the next couple of weeks, let's bring it back. Even if it's $5,000, that's a $15,000 a year savings, and I'm all for it, and I don't think that anybody would have a problem with it that works for us, to buy them 5 shirts to wear, because most of them don't wear the pants anyway, and I believe that that's just the direction we're moving.
That's a good idea, Commissioner. We can save you money.
We're paying mainly for a laundry service that we're gonna pay for that.
Right.
So you'll require the employees to keep them laundered and ironed and so forth, where their laundry's doing it for them now. Okay.
Just something to look at. And that's all I got.
Just a few questions, actually. Tom, last meeting, you said the Port Authority meeting did get canceled. Do you know when the next one of those is happening?
It will be the second Wednesday in October, 10 o'clock at the college.
Next question, the PDRB board was supposed to come up with a, I don't know what you call it, Jim, an architectural plan for this modular going forward. Did they discuss that at the last meeting?
Yes, sir, there was a discussion by the PDRB, we're looking at architectural design, so we did throw the idea and the concept out to them. Mr. Gibson has had some contact back and feedback from some of the PDRB members, so it is a working process, but yes, sir, it has been.
Okay. Last thing, red alert, we're flushing the lines tomorrow at 8 a.m., so anyone that wants to get laundry done, get it done before that.
What you have is there's actually a fire flow test. We have a church down on Monument Avenue area that will be doing a fire flow test for some improvements, future expansion. So it could spread out to the community, so we want to make sure we got it out to everybody, just in case there is some bad news.
And that's all I have.
All right, Mr. McCrone.
Nothing, Mayor.
Mr. Rosaire.
My items are on the agenda, so nothing.
I just got one question, Jim, I talked to you about over there, in between, on Allen Memorial behind them there, the tree limbs that have been cut.
Yes, sir.
Did we ever get anybody over there to look at that?
I had talked to Mr. Bobby Pickles that brought in our new representative that came in, I guess it was probably about a week and a half ago. I did give him the phone. As a matter of fact, I called Commissioner McCrone and gave him the phone number. So I will follow up with him to see if he contacted him. But yes, sir, I did give him the phone.
Has Richie been over there, if you know?
That's not that I know of.
We might want to get him to ride around and look at it again too, 'cause when I went over there that day, there were several limbs that were still hanging over the lines, and then on the other side, on the lot behind his house, they cut the trees and they just left them there. And it's in the backyard of somebody's home, you know, I mean, they're just laying on the ground. So, check on it again for me if you will. And that's all I have, I just, get a motion to adjourn.